Well, ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the final press conference for the big event coming up this Saturday, April 26th, right here in London at sold-out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's the Fatal Fury main event. On top of the card, a great night of world-class professional boxing for your entertainment. And it's all brought to you by the Bible of Boxing, Ring Magazine, along with SNK Corporation, publisher of the combat video game Fatal Fury City of Wolves, and Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing, Ben Shalom for Boxer, and Box Raw. Sponsorship provided by the Public Investment Fund, Visit Saudi, STC, SRMG, Dr. Suleiman Al Habib Medical Group, Saudia, the national airline of Saudi Arabia, Jeddah Season, Milaf Cola, Visit Qatar, Core Group, Desert, NHC, Jocko, Sky, Arab National Bank, First Data, Sella, and SMC. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this Saturday night, April 26th, at sold-out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London, broadcast live worldwide on DAZN and on Sky Sports box office in the UK, also available on DAZN in the United Kingdom. It's the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing in the middleweight division. On the line, legacy, and perhaps more important than anything, bragging rights. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring the fighters to the stage and to their seats for this final press conference. Introducing first, with a professional record, a perfect one. 23 fights, 23 victories, including 14 wins by knockout. From London, England, he's the European Continental Welterweight Champion, the undefeated Conor, the Destroyer Benn. And let's welcome his opponent to the stage. An outstanding professional record of 34 victories, 25 big wins by knockout, 3 defeats. From East Sussex, England, the 3-time IBO world champion and current IBO middleweight champion of the world. He is Chris Next Gen Eubank Jr. And at this time, ladies and gentlemen, let's turn this over to our host for this press conference. Please welcome Mr. Jamie Ward.
Thank you, Michael. Your host, Jamie Ward, from the unmistakable greatest, Mr. Michael Buffer. No doubt that will be clipped up immediately. That is one for the album. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go once again. The main event press conference. Look, we like boxing. That's why we are all here covering this wonderful sport. When we have a good fight, we like it a little bit more. But when we have a great fight, a mega fight, it's quite simple. We love it. And that is exactly what we have on Saturday night, a mega fight. The continuation of one of the greatest rivalries the sport has ever been blessed with. 35 years in the making, the Sons of Legends relight that flame once again. On the grandest stage, a sold-out Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in a quest for pride, bragging rights, family, supremacy. But as we said earlier, much more importantly than that is to settle their own growing, personal, deeply personal feud, which has developed over the last couple of years. Ring Magazine, Fatal Fury City of the Wolves proudly present Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. And I have no doubt, aside from the millions watching around the world, that for those lucky enough to be here on Saturday night, 65,000 sold out at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, that April 26th, 2025, in the years to come, will be looked back upon as an I was there moment. Before we hear from those involved, and of course the most important people on this stage, Chris and Conor, we are going to hear from Rick Reno, COO of the Ring magazine, to say a few words.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this event. And, I want to say, make no mistake about it. This is not a Matchroom event. This is not a Boxer event. This is a Ring magazine event. This is our identity, is these stacked loaded cards. We first wanted to put cards together. We looked at the marketplace, and quite honestly, there was a lot of garbage out there, a lot of garbage events being peddled. When we, met with different broadcasters to, show them some of the events we wanted to put together, the people at the Zone, there were like tears in their eyes, tears of happiness. Like, oh, you're going to present this to us? Because they've been peddled so much shit over the years that they were like, oh my God, you're going to do events like this? And we said, we promise, we won't go away. It won't be 1 or 2 events. It'll be plenty of events. So the people that, the promoters are partner with us, they know their fighters are going to be in tough fights. There's no gimmies. Every now and then they try to, sneak a stinker under there, think we won't notice. I swear, this guy's good, mate. He's good. It'll be a good fight. And, we just cross it right off and put on evenly matched fights. And this main event is no different. And, people could say what they want. You hear a lot of comments when this fight was made, but it takes a lot to get to this level where Chris and Conor are at. And it even takes more when some people may say, they got a famous last name. It's even tougher when you got a famous last name. When you're a nobody, your surname's unknown, you lose a fight, people just look the other way. When you got a famous name like these guys, they lose a fight, they say, I knew he wasn't as good as his old man. The guy's no good. It takes a lot. It's easy to say anything from the sidelines, but it takes a lot to get to this level, and it's even much tougher when your father's a legend. There's a lot riding on this fight with these two guys, and, it's one of those fights, I don't know which way it's going to go. People I talk to, 1 week they're siding with Chris, next week they're siding with Conor. No idea which way it's going to go. It's just one of those fights, like someone stated earlier, you're going to remember it years down the line. And those are the types of events we want to do, whether it's this, whether it's Times Square, Alcatraz, the event we're doing in July in New York. We want to do stacked cards, evenly matched fights, because, we don't want to be peddling garbage out there like a lot of other people are. I don't want to name any names. I won't say if any guilty parties are with me right now, but...
Name them. Go ahead. This is what we're here for.
I could say a lot more, but I know Robert Smith is out here with his ticket book. I don't want to get into any trouble. He might find me enough. They may have to add me to the undercard by the end of this press conference. But, I just want to say in closing, it's going to be a massive event. I look forward to this fight. And, we have the stadium, and we have the fighters here, and we've even had the eggs. So we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, Rick, thank you very much. That was fantastic. Great way to kick things off here. Rick Reno of Ring Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive straight in with the teams. First of all, down there to my right, Jonathan Banks, Team Eubank. Jonathan, you've worked with some greats of this sport, Vladimir Klitschko, Gennady Golovkin, but in your time with this man, Chris Eubank Jr., in comparison to those greats, what have you always admired about this man's discipline, dedication, mindset, and most of all, ability?
Well, you pretty much just said it. That's what I admire about it. A lot of greats have one thing in common, and most of it is the discipline and what they're willing to sacrifice, not only to the sport, but to stay in the sport. So me and Chris, we had a wonderful camp, and he just, day to day, after day, he was able to show how dedicated he is to the sport, how disciplined he is to continue to pretty much stay in the gym day in and day out to prepare for this show.
And I know you respect Conor Benn, but as a student of the game, ultimately, what do you believe sets aside Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn this weekend?
as a student of the game, number one, I respect any person that make up in their mind to put a pair of gloves on and defend themselves, whether it's 10 rounds, 8 rounds, or 6 rounds, because it takes a certain type of mental fortitude to be able to do that. And in no way in the world should that be underestimated. But even with that, I think what separates what we have going on, meaning with Chris Eubank, is his mentality. It's a little bit different, and I do believe that with that mentality, along with that work ethic that he has, it's gonna be the separation between the two.
Okay, Jonathan, thank you very much. We're going to hear from Team Ben as well, Mr. Tony Sims. Tony, when you think about your relationship with Conor Benn, when he walked into the gym as a raw novice to where he is now on the grandest of stages, what makes this personal journey between you and Conor a special one when you see all of this?
Yeah, as you say, coming to the gym as a 19-year-old teenager, he was a raw talent then, and obviously every fight that he's been in, he's been under the spotlight, and we've all watched as his talents grew, and like you say, he's here now in probably the biggest fight in boxing, certainly the biggest British fight in boxing, and you know, it'll be tuned all around the world. Everyone around the world will be watching this fight and in this magnificent stadium.
And it's 1-0 to the Eubanks, one draw, of course. How do you believe your man settles that score on Saturday night?
Yeah, well, every expert, so-called expert that I listen to or I watch on social media are all favouring Chris Eubank Jr. to win the fight, because obviously they're saying that Conor's at a disadvantage moving up 2 weights, and Chris is going to be too big for him and too skillful for him. But I do believe that Conor Benn carries the power up from welterweight to middleweight. I believe he's got the speed, and I believe in him himself that he wants this fight really badly, and obviously he's been through 2 years of hell. Over that course of time, he's gone from being a boy to a man, and we've seen in this camp that we've had 8 weeks in Palma, Mallorca. You know, I know every trainer says the camp's gone, we've had a great camp, the camp's gone fantastic, but we really have, and he's excelled in his training and everything he's done, times on his running, his S&C, his rounds in the gym. He's been incredible. He's had world-level sparring. All the sparring partners we've brought in are all top world-level fighters, and he really has looked fantastic in sparring.
But leave that to me, because I want to talk about that.
And, you know, I believe in him, and I believe that he will come out victorious on Saturday night. And like I said earlier, he's been through 2 years, and sometimes things happen for a reason. We don't know why at the time, but God has a way of looking down, and things happen for a reason. He's been through hell for 2 years. But sometimes you have to go through these things to come out on top at the end, and I believe that Conor Benn, this is going to be his destiny. Saturday night will be his destiny, and I believe that he's going to win this fight.
Okay, Tony Sims, thank you very much. Back to Team Eubank. And the great Ronnie Davis is here. Ronnie, fantastic to have you here with us. You were, of course, in the corner for Chris Eubank Sr. against Nigel Benn. Both fights, November 1990 in Birmingham, October 93 at Old Trafford. But Chris Eubank Jr. here is someone you've known for his whole life. You were in the hospital the day he was born, when he walked into your gym for you to officially start training him at the age of 16. I'm going to ask you a similar question that I asked Tony. How proud are you of Chris Eubank Jr. and the man he has become?
Yeah, I'm obviously very proud of the kid. He's done great. He's been through some hard times, but he's like his father. Nothing beats him mentally or physically. I always thought he was world class. When I first saw his father come in the gym, And I looked at him straight away, and I've been in this game a long time, and I thought about the same. And the same with him. He's a brilliant kid. It'll be Conor, no disrespect to the other team, Tony and everyone, but he's too good for you, Conor. But I wish him the best of luck. That's all I can say.
The great Ronnie Davis, ladies and gentlemen, here with us today. And we're going to hear quickly as well from the promoters on either side. Firstly, Ben Shalom. Ben, here we go. This is it. You were just talking to me off stage there. A lot of hard work behind the scenes, but we're here now. Not long to go until what we're all waiting for, the sound of that opening bell. Make your case for your man.
I can't quite believe we're here. It's been a long road. It's almost a pinch yourself moment. Eubank Ben 3. October 93, that was the month I was born in Manchester. And now we're here, part of the biggest British boxing story ever. It's an amazing feeling to be here. I think everyone's going to remember this event. Just look at the media attention here today. I've never seen anything quite like it. But for me, it's because of Chris Eubank Jr., the biggest name in British boxing outside of that heavyweight division. He's a huge star, and I think, to be honest, it's those big nights that he's been in, it's those big fights that he's had that is going to see him through on Saturday night. It's a monumental event. It's the first Ring Magazine event as well, so to see them put this on, a sold-out Tottenham Hotspur straight off the bat, it's incredible. Thank you to our partners, Matchroom, and thank you to the Ring Magazine, thank you to His Excellency, but most of all, thank you to Chris Eubank Jr. for making this event what it is, and I'm looking forward to an absolute statement on Saturday night.
Ben, thank you. Absolute statement. Promoter Eddie Hearn, over to you to make your case for Conor Benn this weekend.
Yeah, just a few thank yous. Thanks to Rick.
Eddie.
I knew this was coming. Do you know what I've been thinking?
It was coming.
Do you know what I've been thinking? Can I not even say a few thank yous, or?
No.
Okay.
I don't
Matchroom
wanna-
have to speak, right? So
don't have
I'm going to
to speak.
switch it up. I'm just going to firstly say how proud I am of Conor Benn. What he's
don't
been
have to
through
speak.
these last
I
2
don't
years.
wanna hear
And I
anything
can't wait
from
for him
you.
to smash you to pieces
I'm
on
gonna
Saturday
talk
night.
over you for as
But
long as it
Matchroom
takes.
have to be represented.
No,
So I'm going to
no.
switch it up.
Like
I'm going
the
to let
ring
someone
said,
else
this
speak on
isn't
my
a
behalf.
Matchroom show.
I'm going to let
This
someone
isn't a
else speak
boxer
on my
show.
behalf.
You don't have to
I'm
be
going to introduce you
represented
to
in any
scumbag
way,
number 2. Frank
shape
Smith,
or form.
come and take over.
You don't have to be interested.
Okay.
Hello? Am I allowed to
Substitution.
speak, Chris? Good.
Frank, if Eddie's not speaking, do you think you're going to get a word in? Come on.
No, but I don't speak as long as he does.
Let's
That's the
have
one
some-
thing I'll give you. I'll be very quick.
We're going to have some parliamentary procedure
Okay.
today, and anything that Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, or Frank Smith have to say is irrelevant and will not be heard.
Thank you very much, Chris. Appreciate your kind introduction.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Look, I'm going to be very quick because I don't want to get cut off
You are
too
going to
many
be
times.
very quick.
I'm going to be
As
very
in
quick,
You're
Chris.
not going to
Don't
say
worry.
anything.
Chris, don't worry.
You
Well,
are
I'm
no
saying,
different to
I'm
Eddie
saying
Hearn.
something, aren't I? So,
No,
it seems to be working
there's
so
nothing,
far.
There's
Thanks
no
very
little
much,
way
Chris.
you guys are
Chris,
going to
sorry, I
wiggle
can't hear
anything
you.
in.
This is the-
If I direct
yeah.
a question to you or to Eddie, then you can speak.
It's very honourable of you.
Outside of that, I don't want to hear a peep. And if
Thank you very
try and
much.
talk to me, or if you try and do your little speeches to the media, I'm
Yep.
going to shut it down. Because guess what? People aren't here to listen to you already speak. They want to hear what me and Conor have to say.
I don't
That's
disagree
not gonna
with that, but
change.
people weren't here
It doesn't
to hear
matter how
your
much
promoter
time
speak,
you're going
but
to waste
you
here.
allowed him to speak.
You're not going to out-talk me. You're not going to.
No,
you're not
I wouldn't
gonna
dare out-talk you.
you're not gonna out
I
anything.
know I can't out-talk you, Chris.
Exactly.
You're a very good
So I
talker.
don't know why you're on the stage, but you should probably get Eddie back in.
It was just to
He's
help
got
my
a better
profile.
chance of saying anything than you do. Trust me.
Oh, really?
Eddie's irrelevant, but you are
Super irrelevant.
Exactly.
I know.
So
I
you
know.
definitely- you
I'm
definitely
so
should be.
irrelevant. You called me a scumbag in a press conference. It was nice of you
I
to bring
did.
up my name. Thank you very
I
much.
did call you a
But anyway, I'm
scumbag.
going to be very quick.
I
I've
know
been
you're
lucky
going to be
enough to
quick.
work
I've
with
told
Conor
you
Benn for
already.
many, many years. Thank
There
you,
are
Chris.
no
I'm talking.
words that you're going to say here that
Yeah.
are going to fucking get past the fact that I've said you're not speaking.
Okay.
We can do the back and forth,
Yeah.
and it can get boring.
It could get very boring, so I'll end it here.
It will get boring.
I
that's
can't
right.
wait for Saturday
But guess
night.
what?
It's going to be a great
I
night.
don't mind
Thank
if it
you to
gets
the Ring
boring.
Magazine. Thank you to Turkey Al Sheikh. That shut
Okay,
you up, didn't it?
congratulations.
Thanks very
You got
much.
2 words in.
Um,
Everybody,
yeah.
give him a clap. He
Yeah.
did a great job. He tried his best.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much for immensely
Who else
helping
is
my
speaking
profile.
now?
Thank
'Cause
you.
I'm
I'll pass it
done
on now to
listening.
people more important than
Yeah,
myself.
okay.
And thank you for
Have a
having
good
me up
day.
here.
Have a good day.
And just before we hear, of course, from
Sorry.
Chris and Conor, 2-weight world champion, Mr. Nigel Benn, is in the house here as well this evening. Nigel, this is what you and Chris Eubank Sr. started.
Yep.
And here we are, 32 years on after your last meeting. Your sons relight the flame once again.
Yep.
What are your thoughts, your feelings? What's been, as well, the biggest piece of advice you've passed on to Conor this week?
Do you know what? I watched him. You know the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But what happens in Mallorca, I'm telling. I am telling. And I'll tell you about Conor's sparring, and God is my witness. First, he started sparring with Denzel Bentley, super middleweight, but really at light heavy. Had his hands full with Conor. I mean, Conor was just going through it, 10 rounds, done it easy. Then he was sparring with a guy that knocked out Munguia, Bruno, I can't remember his last name, Suarez. Been sparring with him, another light heavy. Conor was bullying him around. And then to put the cherry on top, he started sparring with a guy called William Skull, an IBF champion, who's fighting a week after Conor. Coming there 12-handed. Shouldn't say it, but you know what? Because for the last 2 years, all I've been hearing negative, I'm going to tell you about my son. First 4 rounds, him and Conor were even Stevens, and they were going, oh, perfecto, 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 every time he was hitting Conor. Conor was just walking him down. Then about round, I think 5, he was like, no, because Conor only has 40 seconds rest. And then what he was doing in between the middle of the rounds, he was sitting on the rope because he was tired. Then it came to round 5, 6, 7, started feeling the pace. This is William Skull, IBF champion.
Superstar.
And then after that, no, you can't shut me up, mate, because you ain't been where I've been.
I'm not trying to shut you up. I'm enjoying
But anyway,
the story.
but then what happened, round 8 came.
Uh-oh.
And then, Tony, we looked at each other and we thought, he just quit. He just stopped. Couldn't take no more. After 8 rounds, I meant to be doing 10 rounds. And me and Tony looked at each other and think, what the friggin' hell just happened there? And I got my boy and I thought, my little boy. He just damaged the IBF world champion. And you know what it is? I am so confident this don't go past 4 rounds. I know my son. Back him all the way. And Conor's not a 12-round fighter. He's an old school fighter that can do 15 rounds. But you're going to see him, mate, the power that he's got. No one ain't seen him for the last 2 years. Oh my gosh. You lot are in for a treat. Mark my word. You are in for a big, big treat. Thank you all very much.
Nigel Benn, 2-weight world champion, thank you very much. Here we go then. Let's hear from the fighters, both sides of Saturday's main event. Firstly, Mr. Chris Eubank Jr. Chris, you told the DAZN broadcast this week that you are at peace. There is no chip on your shoulder. Despite all of this and everything that is seemingly at stake on Saturday night, what is helping you to have that feeling of tranquility right now?
I know what's coming. I've prepared my whole life for these moments. I've put the time in. I've dedicated decades to this sport, and I've done it all without cheating, without cutting any corners, and I'm proud of that. The mentality I have, the experience I have, the fortitude, and the will is what I will be using on the night to take out my adversary in Conor Benn.
Conor, you've been on big stages, under the spotlight, since you turned professional. For both of you, big shoes to fill. that on Saturday night when you ring walked in front of over 65,000 fans and everything that's on the line, how have you remained in control of your emotions on a week like this?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is what I do. I love this game. This is what I live for. You know, this is every fighter's dream when they turn professional to live this life. You know, there was no more pressure than a 19-year-old kid with no amateur experience walking out to a packed O2 arena. That's pressure. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years and you know, I'm more than prepared, more than ready. You know, I wish it was Saturday night tonight.
Chris, you have said the procedure will be parliamentary. You know what that means, but for those of us who don't know, can you paint that in a picture for us? What does that look like on Saturday night?
You know, Conor speaks about pressure and dealing with it, but you know, there's a reason why he had his training camp in Spain. You know, the kid had to flee his own country to prepare for this fight. He knew that he couldn't handle the pressure of, you know, walking these UK streets and having people shouting out drug cheat and egg jokes. He didn't want to be involved in any of that. So he took himself away, he hid away, and you know, now he's back, and now he thinks he can use me to kind of get back into the good graces. You know, I haven't fled. I haven't hid away from anything. I've been in these streets. I've been to gyms all over London over the last 2 months. I've been and spoke to kids. I've done all the media obligations I've needed to do around the country. I've felt the energy on the streets of the UK over these last 2 months, and it's real. You know, people are invested in this. You know, everywhere I go, people are screaming, and most of the time it's positive, which is it's a new thing for me. I'm still getting used to that, but you know, I am happy with the place I am at mentally. I don't think Conor can say the same thing. I think he's feeling the pressure and the heat. I think he's feeling that, and he's going to feel a hell of a lot more in a couple of days' time.
If the procedure is to be parliamentary, Conor, what's on your manifesto of what happens? And in response to Chris, are you feeling the pressure?
No pressure. You know, I live for this. I've had the fight over 100 times in my head. You know, for me, it's just focusing on the training, you know, removing myself from my comfort zones, my familiarities, my family, and, you know, fully dialing in. You know, I'm not going to allow myself to Chris and go back and forth and, you know, all that PR's done. I'm excited to get in there and put my hands on him Saturday night. Irrelevant of all the rubbish he wants to talk and you know, names and, you know, we're not at school. And come Saturday night, I get to put my hands on him.
You will be at school on Saturday, my friend. I'm taking you right to school.
Well done, you.
At school, I'm going to be the headmaster, my friend.
Yeah.
And you will be in detention.
You are funny, Chris. You made me laugh. Just focus on getting the weight off, fat boy.
Weight? What's weight? Weight is, everyone always talking about this weight thing. You know, yeah. The weight is painful.
Yeah, good.
I'm in pain right now. I'll be in even more pain tonight and tomorrow morning.
And the worst pain you've ever experienced comes Saturday night. I promise you that right now.
You know, the question I ask myself is, what is pain?
Oh, shut up, Chris.
No, I'm serious. What is it?
Oh, shut up. You're going off. Oh, God.
I have a 31-year-old brother. He's buried in the desert in Dubai. That's pain. You know, I have his son, Raheem, 3 years old. You know, he asks, why can't I see my daddy? Why doesn't he take me to school? That's pain. My own father, a man I idolized for my entire life, and he doesn't speak to me. We haven't spoken for years, and he thinks I'm a disgrace. You know, these things are what pain is to me. And if I can deal with all of these trials and tribulations, then the weight cut and the rehydration clause, these are all things that are not an issue. They are not important. Okay.
Chris, in the build-up to the original date, you said 60% is what you'll be and 60% will be enough. What percent will you be on Saturday and what percent will be enough to beat Conor Benn?
Yeah, we're not doing the percentages anymore. That was for the first time around before Conor got caught cheating. Now it's about, preparing to get this kid out of boxing. We're not taking him lightly anymore. He should have taken the chance he had in that first fight. When I was underestimating, when I was, playing, when I was taking him lightly, that was his best shot. And now it's gone, because now I have a duty to boxing, to the public, to the fans who he's lied to, who Eddie Hearn's lied to for the last 2-3 years. I have a duty to erase these guys from the picture.
Conor, the Ring magazine reported in the last couple of hours that you have requested for Billy Joe Saunders to inspect the raps of Chris Eubank Jr. on Saturday.
Don't ruin all the surprises, Jamie.
Well, the Ring magazine reported it before.
Maybe not.
What do you make of that, Chris?
It's irrelevant. Hand wraps is not going to save Conor Benn from the ass kicking he's about to receive.
Ooh, scary. Ooh.
Conor, hearing you speak this week, you say what gets you out of bed on those early morning runs, it's the fear of losing to another man. What about the fear of losing to this man, Chris Eubank?
Yeah, listen, it's always personal. I'm a very emotional fighter. I fight with my heart on my sleeve, and it's the way I've been my whole career. It's the only way I know. So for me, he is another man. Yes, his name is Eubank, and I won't be losing to a fighter whose name's Eubank, especially not this man.
He says he has no game plan, Chris, just a hop, skip and a right hand, and that'll be all she wrote. Do you believe him?
No, I don't. But that's the beautiful thing about this sport. It doesn't matter what you believe. All that matters is what actually happens once that bell goes, and nobody knows what's going to happen until it happens. What I do know is whatever strategy, whatever game plan these people have come up with, nothing will prepare them for the fire that they're going to receive in a couple of days' time.
Final one to you, Chris. You did say it's impossible that this fight goes 12 rounds. As a final message, how do you beat Conor Benn on Saturday night in the dream scenario?
How do I beat Conor Benn? Any way I want to. It's not about strength and speed and age and weight, all the things that you guys love to talk about. It's about dedication. It's about paying, who's paid their dues and who's done it clean, who's dedicated their life, who's real and who's fake. And I believe all of those categories are in my favor.
And Conor, final one to yourself. You've told us no game plan. You don't need a game plan. When that opening bell rings here at Tottenham Hotspur,
That's right.
What happens?
Yeah, I'm coming here to take his head off.
And just finally, Chris, Eubank supremacy. That's what you've kept talking about in the build-up to this fight. You can cement that on Saturday. Is that part of what comes with all of this occasion for you as well, personally?
Legacy indeed. I'm confident. I still want that £1 million bet that Eddie Hearn said he wanted to do. Eddie, what's up, man? We going to put the mill on or what?
Am I allowed to talk now?
Well, I asked you a question, so of course. Get on the stage and answer.
Yeah, I'll talk. Firstly, I want to say how proud I am of Conor Benn.
No. When I said talk, I mean answer
That's all
the
right,
question.
No, you're all right. Have a day off, mate.
Are you going to fulfill the bet, or are you going to run away like the weasel that you are? I tell you what. So his excuse at the moment is he's going to get fined 100,000 by the board if he bets, and that's why he can't bet me this £1 million. that he said publicly that he wanted to do. So how about I make it easier for you, and I'll put $1 million up, and you put 900,000 up. So I've covered the 100K fine that you're going to get that you can't afford to pay. And let's get it on that way. Let's put the money in escrow tonight, and winner takes all on Saturday. How about that?
As I said to your promoter over there, we will have a conversation with Mr. Smith. If I won't face any penalties on my licence, we can consider it. In the meantime, get back to the hotel, take that weight off, and get prepared to get an absolute spanking on Saturday night at Tottenham Hotspur.
That's what I thought. Always a way to weasel your way out of what you're supposed to be doing, which is honouring your word.
Okay, if Eddie won, Frank Smith, maybe you can.
What?
The bet?
I haven't got £1 million, mate. Do you think I'd be up here doing this? I'd be on a beach somewhere if I had that much money.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the final press conference. Nearly time for the sound of that opening bell Saturday night, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn. We're going to pose now for the face-offs. Thank you very much.
And here they are, ladies and gentlemen, face to face, the fighters here in our final press conference for the main event this Saturday, April 26th, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 12 rounds of boxing in the middleweight division. On the line, bragging rights and legacy, the undefeated Conor the Destroyer Benn and the three-time world champion Chris Next Gen Eubank Jr. It's all available live worldwide on DAZN and in the UK on Sky Sports Box Office, along with DAZN here in the UK. Face to face. 48 hours from now, it all comes to a head. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London, England. It's about legacy. It's about bragging rights. Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. Saturday night, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's about legacy, it's about bragging rights. 12 rounds of boxing in the middleweight division. Conor the Destroyer Benn, Chris Next Gen Eubank Jr. Live worldwide on DAZN and in the UK on DAZN and Sky Sports Box Office.